What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for joining us today. Oh, Ian, we got a late entry.
Oh,
Beautiful. You
hi.
made it. All right. Ian had some other things going on and wasn't sure he's going to make it today, so he's here. Welcome to the Market Makers podcast, and we have an awesome guest today. We were talking before the broadcast. We were both on here for about 10 minutes, just kind of going over a bunch of things. And I screwed up. Steph, I didn't even ask how to pronounce your last name. Is
Oh,
it
it's
Olenek?
Olenek.
Olenek. See, I screwed it up. There we go. That's the
Okay.
way to get
That's,
started.
yeah, all good.
Well, Steph is a real estate investor, a real estate agent and broker. And I think, pretty cool. We were just talking about this. She's also a boutique hotel owner, which I'd love to delve into here today. Steph, tell us a little bit about yourself and, what's going on and how'd you get started in real estate? Let's start there.
Sure. So it'll be 10. I'm coming up on my 10 years in real estate. But before that, I was bartending. I was a waitress. I was in art school. And I'm going to come out of the school with all these lows. I'm like, what the hell? This is not worth it. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So someone was like, why don't you take your real estate test? I failed that test 7 times. I did not.
Nice.
I could not. I also didn't study at all, but I'd go and take it. I was like friends with the security guard at the building. I'd be like, I failed again. Like, I'm not.
See you next week.
I'll see you next week. Finally passed, got into real estate, ended up being good at it. And I loved it. And then through real estate, just, working with clients, then I got into buying and investing myself. It's kind of
awesome.
progression.
So what, so you got to ride the market up and now you've got to roll into this next phase of market transition. How are you seeing things right now?
We were just talking about this before. I'm tired.
Yeah. In what way? Buyer fatigue or what do you got going on?
Yeah, I think it's just tough. It's tough explaining to people, especially buyers, like, listen, if you want this house, these are the insane things that you have to do to get it. Right. And like a lot of times they don't believe you, and that's fine. Like, I can only share my experience so much. And then sometimes they have to learn on their own, and that's fine too. I will be there for it with the losing of the offers, all that kind of stuff. But it's tough because it's hard, especially if it's your first house, right? Like, what do you mean I have to waive inspections? What do you mean I have to offer over asking?
Sure, they're not in the world, right? They're not in your world, so it's all new to them. So they're like,
waive them. What's the big deal? Like,
yeah, right. Are you doing anything in the city? Do you do anything in the city right now?
Yeah, I probably do about 25% in the city.
And is that easier to move?
So much easier.
Yeah.
Suburbs. I mean, it's so hyper focused. Like, I just sold a house down the street in Media, super cute Cape Cod, and it went 107 over asking. Like,
that's nuts. I mean,
like, and I'm meeting buyers on Monday for a buyer consult, and they want to live in Media, and I'm going to use this as an example and like actually show them the offers. So
what was the offer? Well, I'm sorry, what was he asking?
It was 575. Wait, I forgot what it was. 575, I think.
You're like a 25%, 20% over asking, or don't do it.
No, I'm sorry. We were at 535 and it went 107.
So yeah, about 25% over asking or forget about it. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I remember, and I'm going to share this story with them. When I met with my first realtor, when I bought my first house, I was like, I want to live in Media. And she was like, you have champagne taste with a beer wallet. You are not in there. And I was like, I don't like you. You're fired. And I ended up buying in Clifton Heights. And it was fine because that's the thing too. I think it's hard in this day and age. Like, people want everything right now, right? Like, there's a first home. Like, that is a stepping stone. That is an investment to your next home. And I don't think people want the house now.
Yeah. That's a really, really good insight. I especially now we've seen a lot of, I don't know if you're on Twitter or not, or X, whatever it is now, but there's all kinds of talk and chatter about, oh, the crashing market, and everybody's a doom and gloomer, right? And you see these charts of the price of homes versus what is affordable and all that kind of stuff. But we forget that, like, or in our heyday, like, people were raising 6 kids in a 2-bedroom house, and it's like we're going from that to, like, your first house out of college should be 6,000 square feet on 2.5 acres with horses. Like,
Right.
what happened?
Yeah, I bought a row home, ugly kitchen, horrible carpets. They smoked in it. We couldn't afford to do everything at once, but it was fine. And now I live in my home that I'm never going to leave. But I didn't just magically, like, get this nice place,
Right. And you know what? There might be a day when you're ready to leave. Like,
Yeah.
it's too much house. You're ready to downsize, and like,
I'm not allowed because my husband did all the work. And Ian, I wanted to share this. You would not loan to me on this house.
No. I love the house. And you're right, I wouldn't loan to you because you were moving into the house. But I love the house. The house is beautiful.
We weren't going to, but we ended up buying it for ourselves.
Yeah. No, I remember looking at it. I was like, she's moving into this. I was like, there's no way this is a flip. I was like, this is too beautiful a house.
Very shortly after, we were like, yeah, right. We're not selling this.
Yeah, I just had a gut feel because I was like, you don't walk away from a house like that. It was a unique property. I remember it specifically.
Oh,
It was a unique property. And I did it. And then you told me your husband was doing the work. I'm like, they're gonna fall in love with this house. Like, they ain't going anywhere.
That's the thing too. Like, I think you have to be creative in this market. And that's the only reason why I can live here is because we were able, like, my husband's a contractor. We could do the work for less. So there's ways that I think buyers can, if they're willing, right? Like, if they're willing to put some work into it, you can get around and still get a deal in this market. But
did it come out everything you expected? Do you love it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man, I saw that house because, like, I was kind of in the market myself at that point. I was like, this is one I personally like that house. Yeah. I was like, this has everything to it. And
we found really well in the next room here, because it used to be, I guess, like, right. This part that I'm in was built in the 1700s, but we put like a glass thing.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Wait, did you post that on social media?
Yeah.
I think my wife sent me the picture of potentially that well. She was like, you guys see what they did in this house.
Well, it went like viral on
can you send me?
And I had like trolls, like, people were like, you need to move out of this house now.
Can you send me the an email link to it after the show? I want to see if it's the same one that she found online, because I was like, that is so cool. How do you do that? Ends up being your house?
Awesome.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. But that's awesome. I'm glad you found that. I'm glad that house went to a good place, because that was also the kind of house I was like, this isn't really, I want to see this like go somewhere right, because there's a lot of history in that house. I remember.
Well, it's wild because in 2015, when I first got my real estate license, this was on the market before it burnt down. And I lied and I said I had a client and I made an appointment because I just wanted to see the house.
Yeah.
This is my dream house. Like, and then I'm thinking, like, I'll never get to live somewhere like this. Like, this isn't for me. This is for someone else. And then it came back like years later, burned down.
Meant to be.
I gotta get this.
Meant to be. Well, it's a cool house. It's a very cool house. I want
to pile on something that
ahead,
Steph said. If you don't, I'm sorry, Ann. But you said, you can kind of make your niche in the market, right? I find so many times that the houses that sell the fastest, and like this market, it's kind of an anomalous. If you have a nice looking property, it's probably going to sell pretty quickly, and you're probably navigate a bunch of offers. But more than that, like, you can drive demand by having one unique thing. I mean, like, the first house that I bought with my wife, we bought it because of the railings. Like, that's ridiculous, but it was like, love those railings, and it's so interesting. You get that one hook, and it can make all the difference.
That is true.
What do you have, Steph, going on with the? I'm going to jump on you here with the boutique hotel thing. That was new to me. What do you got going on there?
So there was this bookstore on the market in Kennett. It was on for like 16 days. It was 2 twin homes that was open up, 2 historic homes opened up into one bookstore. It was like a rare bookstore for like 30 years. And then another couple opened it to a new bookstore, but during COVID, then they wanted to get out. And I'm like, this is interesting. Why has it been on the market this long? What can I do with this? Because whenever I'm searching for things, like I said before, I try to get creative with it. So I check the zoning. And I've had a couple Airbnbs throughout the years. Hotel was always on my vision board, and it was already zoned for hotel, which like never happens in townships, right? Like that kind of stuff is so hard to find. So then I got the idea. I'm like, the books were coming with the sale too. So there was 5,000 books. They just left everything. They just literally walked away, like register, books, socks, t-shirts, mugs, everything was left there. So that's when I kept the Bookhouse name, just changed it to the Bookhouse Hotel.
That's cool.
Kept all the books, and turns out there's an entire book world out there, and people are coming just because of the books. So
is it pretty hot, pretty easy to rent then, or always rent it out kind of thing?
We have like 500 reservations for the year.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that sounds like.
How many rooms do you have?
Only 4. It's just 4 rooms. It's wild. Yeah, it's really wild. It's set up like an Airbnb, right? Like there's no invisible service.
And you guys are booked to the gills. Yeah, that's perfect.
You can rent the whole thing. So we have like brides, book clubs renting it. And then we just bought Fawnbrook, the old bed and breakfast in Westchester. So that's going to go with the same theme. So now I have to find a bunch of books. I got to like collect books again. And it's also a wedding venue. So I'm trying to build a brand. Like it's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have really good taste, starting with your own home. So you got really good taste, and seems like people appreciate it.
Yeah, it's I didn't know really where it was going to go, but the book thing it's a big thing. So we started a book club subscription. I'm just trying to build different streams off of the one idea.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got a lot of cool stuff going on. What's the next step? What's the next thing, or what's currently maybe that's
so current is we have a couple, the boring stuff, but the things that will bring money long term. We have a couple long-term rentals that we're just fixing and doing the BRRRR method on. We have like one flip going on, but the new Bookhouse at Fawnbrook is what we're working on to get that back up and running. We bought it for $900. It just appraised at 2.78.
Wow.
So that's great.
Yeah.
With the work being done. So we're going to do some updates to it. Not like a whole gut or anything like that. And then I'm going to launch the next 100 members for the book club. So they get a membership box 4 times a year. So I'm going to launch that for nationwide. My goal is 10,000, and I know that's like crazy, but I don't care.
Yeah, so was living in that house a few years ago, right?
Right. Yeah. So
Yep.
I'm going to try it, and we'll see what happens.
Well, so at what point, you were telling me before we started, that you handwrite every note, that goes out with the book club. When's that stop? That's
I'm like,
so cool.
I've been using my real estate office for all these boxes and subscription service. So it's just like filled to the ceiling. But I handwrite like every note that goes out. It takes like 3 hours to do. My hand's like cramping the whole time. But it's what people crave. Like, I don't want to send out, like, they crave real relationships,
authenticity,
people crave community, authenticity. Like, I don't want to send out, and it's the same thing how I deal with my buyers or sellers. Like, I treat them, I act the same to everybody. I don't want to come off like buy now, marry what is the saying that everybody keeps posting? Date the rate, marry the other house. Oh man, first time I heard that, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I almost threw up when I heard it. Oh, I almost threw up. I was like, what corporate world did this buzz saying come out of? Because I just want to puke. Like, I get it, but like, it's just, if we were talking about this before we jumped on, if it's the right time for you in the market, like, you can't time the market. If it works, you can afford the payment, or the deal, the numbers work, you do it. If it doesn't, you move on. Like, I have so many people that have been waiting since COVID to buy. And I'm like, you missed out on so much money, money left on the table. So I try not to, force it, or you just have to share what's going on and share your experience and not say dumb cliches. But I'm sure if you look back on my Facebook, I'm sure I say.
Yeah, I'm sure I said it too. Yeah, I'm sure I did. I'm sure I jumped on that stupid bandwagon for a few hours, and I was like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I was like, this, what it felt like to me when it first came out was like a cop out. I was like, this is everybody's cop out for like, okay, market's crashing, like market's turning, deal with it. Like we're here.
During COVID, I looked back at my Facebook. I'm like, was I out of my mind? I'm like, you don't have to see a house to buy it.
Yeah, right. No problem.
I mean, like I've done that before and it's been a shit show. So like,
of course, I'm sure
not
it's like,
fun. No.
no.
fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just do the best we can in the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you guys got some really cool stuff going on. I didn't know that stuff was going on with you, so I'm glad we did this show because that's some really cool stuff. And honestly, like you said, at 10,000 sounds like it's crazy, but I would not be surprised if we do this show in a couple of years and you go, hey, I'm at like 5,000 or 6,000. Like that stuff. I always think like dream big. Like why would you not? Right? Why would you dream small? Right?
Right.
Ever.
What's the point?
Well, beyond that, though, like if your goal is 100 in the next year, right?
No, 100 next month.
There you go. Okay, even better. So 100 next month. So in June, you could do 200, and then 3. You know, and it's like if you can continue to double and turn that into scale, like who knows?
Sure.
Yeah. Bookhouse pajama brand. I got these cute teacups that everybody wants now.
You have like a good rustic taste, right? So people, and there's a whole culture for that feel, right? Is that kind of your feel, like a rustic feel? You like that look, or is that the right term?
I think the Bookhouse is more like whimsical and magical and Alice in Wonderland-ish, like that kind of.
So okay, what kind of books? I told you
all different books, every genre. I just picked up. Old people call me all the time and they're like, I got a ton of books. Will you come get them? I'm like, yes, absolutely.
Yes, I will.
I just picked up like 200 vintage books from this woman who was moving and they're so cool. They're actually on my bookshelf right now, but they're just going to get moved to the hotel, but they're awesome.
Well, so you're telling me you send out boxes of like random books to people?
No. So we'll pick a book for the quarter. They get that book and then a gift.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What was the last book you did?
It's this Philadelphia author. Her name's Jo Piazza. It's called The Sicilian Inheritance. Okay. So she's going to come to the book club meet up, find everybody's books. We did I started a podcast we were talking about. I'm really not good at it. I'm really bad at it right now, but authors come to the hotel. We get in bed. I interview them. They leave their signed book. But it's been great for social media and like they repost and stuff, but I'm not like the sound's always messed up. It stops recording, you know.
I mean, that's not a very good pitch for the podcast. We got to give us some fluff.
And it's awesome.
Back to the authenticity. Yeah,
that's right. What's the name of the podcast?
It's called The Bedside Bookworm.
Great.
It's on YouTube, but I think that's the point, right? Like you just go for it. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm really not. I mean, yes, inside a little bit, but I think I'm willing to fail. That's the difference. Like I always
like that failure is like it's just a learning. It's just like something you learn from, right? Like so, like it just means you just didn't do it the way you wanted to do it, so you just do it the other way next. Like that was something I always grew up with. I just never, like I never took it personally when I would screw up. Like I screw up all the time. I'm not like I don't hate myself for it. I'm like it's just whatever.
I think of it as
a screw up, right? It's not really a screw up. Yeah, or just a learning thing you can check off the box and be like, all right, I can get more efficient the next time or whatever it may be.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think people really get hurt when they take themselves very, very, very personally, like on a failure. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got their own introspective thoughts. But I think it's very freeing when you don't think that way. It doesn't put so much weight on your chest, I think.
Right.
That I've noticed.
Yeah.
So
and owning it too, right? Like.
Yeah.
And I think I struggle with that. Like imposter syndrome, like, oh, you know, I kind of like downplay everything, like, oh, that's so cool, you're in a hotel. I'll be like, yeah, but it's really not anything, or like it's fucking cool. Like it's been
awesome. Exactly.
It's neat. It's really neat.
Yeah. So I have to. I struggle with that definitely. And then I struggle with. I was talking to somebody else that we were talking about marketing, right? Because in this business we're in advertising for ourselves, for your company. Like all we do is look at me.
All we are
doing this. This is all we are. So I've been getting confused. Like, am I an agent? Am I a hotel owner? Am I a book club subscription? Like what? And I'm afraid, and I've been getting afraid. Like I don't want to post too much about the hotel because then people are going to forget that I'm in real estate or think I'm paying too much attention to the hotel and not trying to find them a house. So I get like all in my head. And I think it comes back to the authenticity thing where like, no, these are the things that I do.
Yep.
And just like whatever, just keep posting. And because people are always watching, like you think that they're not, but they are. And
they definitely are. And they definitely remember. I'll get somebody 10 years from now will reference this interview online and they'll be like, hey, I saw that interview with you with Stephanie. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, but the book club one? And they're like, yeah, 10 years ago. I'm not kidding. I get that phone call.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right. You think it's somewhere in the corner of the internet nobody saw? They saw. Like, it's
they
there.
saw, all right. Yeah. I just started a TikTok and I'm like, oh, this is brutal.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully RFK wins his lawsuit, right? He's going to be.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll figure it out.
Dude, yeah. The world's a mess right now. It's awesome to talk to somebody like you. That you got such a positive attitude on life, and it's like one thing changes, you just roll into the next.
And I can't. I mean, obviously, I have to pay attention what's going on in the market, but I can't too much because, like, one, mental health, right? You got to keep a good mindset and just be like, this is what I know. This is what I can do right now. This is how I can improve my life and the other people around me. It's all you can do. And I'm very like, we were talking about this too, like appointment. I keep track of my appointments that I set so that I can kind of base where I'm at. Because if I don't, I'll be like, I'm a horrible realtor. I don't have any blah, blah. And then I'm like, no, look at your appointment set. You are going to turn these into something. That kind of has nothing to do with the other thing I just said. But
the mind game is real. Mind game is real.
Oh yeah. It's, especially when you're spread thin in a lot of different areas, or not even spread thin, but you're spread across a lot of different interests. In your case, a couple of different businesses, where it's like keeping track of those KPIs and like doing the things that matter. It can be distracting, and you get a month or two down the line, you don't pay attention to them, and all of a sudden you realize, hey, have I been working? Yeah, I've been working my butt off. Like, look at all the things I got accomplished.
Yeah. I use that app. I just downloaded it because I saw it on TikTok. It's called Motion. Have you heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's great.
Is it?
Oh yeah. So you can so I have like Bookhouse, the new Bookhouse, real estate, leads, listing, buyers, blah, blah, blah. And you can put tasks under each one, and then AI puts it into your calendar for you. And then I can look and go through what's most important. And it's been a game changer. I get so much more done now.
Well,
I'll take a look. Things like that, I either look at them and go, I'll know in 5 seconds. I'm like, it's either going to stick or I'm dead in a week. I don't know which it is. But when they stick, it's like you're using it forever, right?
I'm using it forever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take a look at it. Motion.
Yeah, check it out. It's. I mean, you pay monthly for it, but I probably pay monthly for a million things I don't use.
Yeah. Just don't look at the credit card. It doesn't show up.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I think this has been a great talk. It's really cool, actually. So, Josh has been scrolling across the bottom there, all the your contact information. Is that all correct?
No.
Good. It's not correct.
Oh, no.
Good.
Email, and the longest email ever. We have to change it. It's everybody's hometown agency.
Oh my goodness.
It's fine.
I went over that 3 times.
I'm sure you did. It's a good conversation starter when I talk to people on why it's so long and what I do. But yeah, we need to change that.
We'll change that.
It's changed. See, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe I did that.
I'm sure everybody watching this watched right up to the last 30 seconds of the show.
That's right.
All right, good. All right, we'll have to figure out a way when we just make sure every time we post something to social media with her, we put the right one, like in the actual.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, cool. Good.
All good.
Your phone number's right, or is that going somewhere?
My phone number's right, yeah.
Okay, good.
It's off by 1 digit.
Okay. Yeah.
My name's not Stephanie. No, it's fine.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you for doing this. And actually, we'll check back. We try to check in like every 6 months with people, just see what the heck's going on. So we'll do that and go from there.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
sounds
man.
good.
Have a great day. All right, guys.